So hi there and welcome to me, MacGybo's second lesson in basic PvP. Now I think I said at the end of the last video that this one was going to be about bookmarks and safe spots, but I've decided instead to make it about local intel. So that will be the local chat and your scanner as well. Now this is a way of finding out what's going on in the system that you're in and what's around and about you. So your local chat is chat window that is always open. You cannot close it. You can minimize it, but it will always be there. And what that does is it tells you the names of every pilot who's in that solar system. The exceptions to this are if you're in wormhole space where this doesn't happen. I'm in low sec, so I can see that all of these pilots are in the system with me. Now that's a really valuable intel tool. The second thing that I mentioned was scanning. Now there's lots of different scanning in Eve, but what we're interested in here is called directional scanning. Now you can bring up the directional scanner by either clicking on the scanners button and then clicking on directional scanner, or you can do Alt and D and that'll bring it up. Now by default it's attached to the solar system map. Now that's not bad. If you want to leave it there, it'll show you your directional scanner within the context of the whole solar system. I actually prefer to have it separately. So I would click on that button and just have it undocked, and then that way I can close the solar system map and then bring up the solar system map if I need it. So what does that do? That shows me what's around me. It goes up to 14.3 AU, that's the maximum that you can scan, the maximum distance, and that's the distance from your ship. So your ship is at the center of that 14.3 AU, and your angle there is 360 degrees. Now you can narrow that down, and it's important that you know that when you do narrow it down, it's from the direction in which your ship is pointing. So you can align your ship to different parts of space and then narrow down that scan, and it'll be from wherever your ship is pointing. So what can you see when you scan? Well, that depends on what you've got filtered. You'll remember in part 1 that we created lots of different presets, and we can do that just now. We can implement those same presets within the directional scanner. I had a preset called Just Ships, and I'm going to bring that up just now. And we can see that there's an endurance ship there, and if I scan, we can see that it will just bring up the ships. If I change that preset back to normal, it shows me wrecks, it shows me some drones, and if I just rescan it, you'll just see that that endurance ship disappeared. Now that's interesting here. We can get lots of intel from this. Wrecks, that means someone's been here recently shooting NPC ships. You can also see pilots' ships wrecks here as well. So if I died here, my wreck would be showing up on a scan. I can see the asteroid belt, and I can see 2 drones. Now, there are some ships that don't show up on scans, but I can see 2 drones here and no ship, and I can also see an asteroid belt. So it looks to me like it could be that these drones are in the asteroid belt. Now there's a really good way of finding this out. We know the asteroid belt is 256,000 kilometers away. Now how does that work? Because that's in kilometers, but my range is in AU. If I click on AU, I can change that to kilometers. So if I just narrow down the search to 300,000 kilometers and press enter, the asteroid belt is still there, but the drones aren't. So I know that those drones aren't at that belt. And this is how you can use the directional scanner to figure out where ships are in space. If I move that back, it will tell me that the wrecks are there, and I can bring down the scan to figure out roughly where they are, but it won't tell me in the scan how far away they are. It'll tell me how far away a celestial is, like a belt or a planet or a gate. But things like control towers and wrecks and ships and drones, you have to figure that out yourself. Now, if I bring up that solar system map again, Some solar systems are so small that you can scan the entire solar system just with the directional map, meaning it's less than 14.3 AU. This system that I'm in is much larger than that. I've come through at this gate here and it doesn't reach the rest of the solar system. So what I can do is take a look here and see I've got a novice outpost, which is much closer to the center of the solar system. So if I warp to that outpost within 100 kilometers, stay cloaked, let's see what happens to the directional scanner. Now I don't know if you noticed there, but there was a pilot called Next Jester who left the system. He also left the chat. So we can see he's no longer in the system. And that's confirmed by the local chat, the absence of his name. Now, as I fly through the solar system there, you can see that this bubble here, which represents the area covered by the directional scan, has moved with me. But it won't update automatically. You have to press scan and wait for it to update. You can see the results have changed as I've moved. So we have got lots of information here about pause towers, wrecks, drones, planets, and a mobile depot as well. Now, if I just change that to just ships and click scan, there are no ships showing up on the scan at the moment. When I selected no blue in the overview to remove friendly ships from when I'm doing PvP, when I'm fighting, the state of a ship, i.e. if it's friendly or not, cannot be applied to your directional scanner. So if there are you and two other people in system and one's friendly and one's not, you can't filter out the ships from the directional scanner based on whether or not they're friendly. So you don't know from the scan which is which. Now there are ways to scan down a ship and find out where it is, but you need probes for that, and that's a completely different issue, and we're not going to be covering that today. So let's say, for example, that I was inside this novice plex, which I would get to by going through an acceleration gate. I would always want to have this directional scanner open. I would choose to have it set to just ships, and just remember that just ships has got combat probes on it as well. I would every now and then be hitting the scan button, which has got a shortcut of V, and then you will always know whether or not a ship was about to enter that gate. And that is how a combination of the directional scanner and the local chat can tell you what's going on in the system and what's going on around you, which is essential if you want to be successful at PvP. Thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.